Hello, my name is Omkar Sawardekar. I am going to be stepping into this new role at PrairieCare of Diversity and Inclusion Specialist. I just want to take a couple moments to introduce myself as well as speak to some of the broader considerations in the context of diversity and inclusion as they relate not only to PrairieCare as an organization, but all organizations, specifically speaking to the intersections of mental health, identity, and culture, and how these different aspects come together and the impact and the considerations as they relate to patient care, organizational dynamics, culture, mission. So a little bit about myself. I have a background in IT, business, and then I went back to grad school after my initial bachelor's in information technology to work on social work. And since then, I have practiced in a variety of settings, including at PrairieCare. I'm especially drawn to working with some of the most challenging systemic and clinical dynamics, right? And so this means looking at aspects of race, gender, sexuality, how this plays out in families, the role of trauma. In addition to my clinical work, I've been practicing in an ongoing capacity as a consultant with my most current major piece of work is with an organization known as Common Bond. And they work to meet the housing needs of some of the most vulnerable in our communities in multiple states, including Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So when I think about all of these pieces, some of the places where I get most excited and where I want to continue to work is looking at the complexity of aspects of identity, right? Race, gender, sexuality, age, social class, gender identity, just to name a few, where those intersect with culture and mental health and trauma, right? And this is an incredibly complicated mix. And as we continue to serve our communities, it means that we need to engage this complexity, right? And there are major implications for organizations in how well we need to do that, right? And the mission, the organizational mission, is one of the things that guides how that work happens, right? And the task of creating a multicultural organization is an incredibly long-term project, right? And requires a level of commitment. And I just want to name, right, finally, some of the major questions, right? What are the differences that matter in an organization? How do we engage those differences? When do we highlight difference? And when do we highlight similarity, right? What is the role of leadership in all of this, right? To do this work well means there are some things that we have to absolutely engage. Conflict, right? We have to engage conflict. Communication, a lot of deconstruction, and really understanding, like, when you say diversity, what do you mean? When you say justice, what do you mean? When you say trauma, what do you mean? And these are ongoing conversations, and it's going to be messy work, right? And part of the challenge is to stay committed even when the work is messy, especially when the work is messy. And currently, we're living in a situation where there are multiple external stressors, right? And speak finally to PrairieCare as one of the largest providers of mental health service, specifically the largest provider in the state of child mental health services. The biggest and most challenging social issues are going to be showing up through our doors, through some of the most vulnerable people in our society, which is children. And so that's our challenge, right? That's our task. right? And not just at Prairie Care, but at organizations that provide mental health throughout the state and country and globally in the context of a pandemic, social unrest, an upcoming polarizing election, right? What is the role of clinicians to navigate those challenges with our clients, right? And what is the role of organizations that provide mental health services to support that work? Thank you.